Hey, it's Jason. Welcome to part 2 of this build video that I'm doing. This is my first build ever and my last build before my first real build. And if that doesn't make sense, go back and watch episode number 1 and hopefully it makes a little more sense. In that last episode, I got my Saga kit, Les Paul Jr. guitar style, and put everything together just to make sure that all the pieces fit and seem to work. And then took it all apart. Taking it all apart, I found this cool little trick. I'll put up this little video now. I was having a hard time getting these little bits. I'm sure there's a better name for this, but the little bits that hold in the bridge posts out. And I found this trick where you take a little screw, you put it in there, and then you just screw the posts in like you ordinarily would, but instead of the post going in, the other part now comes out. I thought that was cool and wanted to pass it on. Right, now that I have everything off of here, I'm going to sand it for the finish. And I have heard and read that because of this crazy sealant they put on these Saga kits, it can be really tough to get all of it off. It seems like most people had an issue because their guitar had a veneer that they were afraid of going through or something like that. But since mine is just one big piece, I'm just going to go for it, and I'm going to go from 60 grit and see how that works. Cards on the table. I'm going to show you right now what I want this to look like in the end. Here is a mock-up that I did on Photoshop. I'm going to see how close I can get to this, and we can compare them at the end. Let's switch over to voiceover and...
A sanding we will go. Nice day up on the roof, not such a bad place to sand. Here's the 60. I am taking this thing off very quickly. I actually was very surprised at how quickly it went. What I had expected to be maybe 4-5 hours turned out very quick. This is after 15 minutes. You can see the difference there. So it didn't take too long to get everything off of the body. I went extra hard though. I didn't want to risk it. I went from the 60 to 100 to 150 and then 220 and stopped there. I thought the neck would be a lot easier. There's not a whole lot of sealant on it that I could see. There's a little, glistening. For that one, I just did 150 and 220 and then stopped there. And then I made my little template of what I wanted the headstock to look like. Drew it on, clamped it down, used my coping saw, made perpendicular cuts first, and then cut across like a little bit at a time to pull off each of those. Sometimes got a little too close. It was hard to steer the thing around. I had to sand it down a lot to try to get it flat and also at a right angle. But with a little work, I got it to looking pretty good. To help with the staining, I got a stick, drilled some holes in it, screwed in a couple of the neck plate bolts, and I had a little handle that did a pretty good job. Sprayed the dust off with some keyboard air cleaner. Used some naphtha to wipe it all down, make it all clean. Here's my box from Crystalac. They do a lot of water-based finishes. It was a little more costly than some of the other water-based methods, but also the easiest. Here's the clear gel stain and glaze. It acts as a pre-stain, and also you can stain it. You just add these dyes directly. For what I was doing, I got a black, a white, a red, and a blue. And then here's the top coat, the bright tone. It's supposed to be perfect for instruments. They give you a little recipe book to tell you exactly how much to put in of each color to get what they have. It was a little difficult to do. As you can see here, one drop is a little hard, and you never know what size it's going to be. And sometimes, oh, that was only supposed to be one drop, but it turned out to be two. But I played around. I got some colors that looked pretty good to me and thought, let's start this out. So I'm putting on gloves. Always remember to put on gloves. I did not always remember to put on gloves, and it took a little while sometimes to get even the water-based stains off of my hands. Not to mention my kitchen counter and my sink and other things around the kitchen. I used the foam brush and put a solid coat of a sort of middle tone that I had made all over the body. I put old earplugs in the bridge holes to keep the stain out. I'm going to go over this in fast speed because, spoiler alert, it came out horrible. I'll slow it down when I get to the process that ended up working for me. Here it is after a few layers. It was a little splotchy. You can see the strokes. Maybe the foam brush wasn't the best idea. So you know what? I didn't like the way this worked, so I sanded it all off. This time let's start with the burst. Put a little bit all around the edges, and then I will switch from the brush. I cut up a lot of pieces from an old t-shirt, stuck some cotton balls in there, wrapped it up with a rubber band. Let's wipe it in there. Try to feather it to make the transition look smooth. Particularly hard to get into these corners with the handle there. You'll see I eventually just got rid of the handle altogether. Make it a little darker along the edges. Came back with the lighter color, and now I'm applying that to just the middle and start feathering that into the dark. Then the plan was just to go back and forth between the two, pushing the dark into the light, putting the light into the dark to try to get that smooth transition. Here's the point where you can tell I'm not really liking how it's turning out. I'm going to fix it a little bit. And then what I ended up with, didn't look very good. You could still just see the swirls. Looked great where it was solid on the back. Nope, let's take it off again. Sanding in your apartment on the rug isn't so bad as long as you keep a vacuum cleaner nearby. Didn't take it all off this time. Add some of that lighter blue purple to the center, starting with that this time. Put it over the entire front. All right, didn't work. Took it all off again, starting it over from scratch. Remixed some colors. This time I got wise and started experimenting on the back side, adding the dark on top of the light before I bring it over into the front as the burst. I put at least 2 hours between each coat. It definitely seemed like the longer, the better. Once I finally had the back and sides at the shade that I thought I wanted, it was time to start on the burst on the front. Foam brushes are long gone by this point. What I ended up with, I just didn't like. Again, not very smooth, sort of the wrong color. So I shaved it all off again. And I had a new strategy this time. Not to ruin the ending, but this is the one that eventually worked. I put a dark layer on first on the back and the sides and brought it over the edges as the burst border and feathered that into the blank wood as much as I could, sometimes just with a rag dampened with water. Added another coat to the dark all over. Now it was time for this lighter color. Now this will go over everything to keep the color consistent. And the idea is that it'll be enough coats that it'll help hide where the two join to look like a smoother transition. It'll end up as a much more subtle effect. I think it wasn't a good idea to try to make them so different from the start. It's something that, I don't know, maybe would work with paints, with lacquer, maybe spraying, but it was not working with stain. Another coat. This took a lot of coats and a lot of finagling, but I was very patient with it as I thought this might be the one. I got it to a place where I thought it looked pretty good, but comparing it to the mock-up, it was just much bluer and much less purple than I had wanted. So I mixed up a very small batch of clear gel stain with just a tiny little bit of red in it and used that as a wash over everything. And it definitely turned everything a little bit purplish. And hey, I like the way it came out. Here it is. Right? Not so bad for a first-time builder and a first-time finisher and especially a first-time sunburster. Now that I had this done and had the colors that I liked, it was time to start the neck. I did this with the same lighter tint that I'd used for the body. I figured if it's a little too blue, a little too purple, a little too light, a little too dark, whatever it is, I could always adjust it, and I knew it would be a little bit different just because of the different types of wood. This first coat came out very splotchy, making me think that maybe I should have worked a little bit harder on the sealant on the neck as well. So I took it all off again, went down to 100 on the sandpaper, a few more coats over it, and it looked pretty good. There were definitely some parts where it didn't take as well, but it doesn't concern me. Maybe it would on a different project. But this is the beater guitar. It's okay if it's a little rough and tumble. Had some black acrylic paint that I mixed with water to do the headstock. Went back to the foam brush for this. Came out a little drippy looking. I don't know if that was because of the brush, but then I switched to the rags again. I was out of cotton swabs by this point, so I was just using the rags by themselves, and you know what? It worked just as well as far as I could tell, if not better. After 3 coats of that, it looked pretty good to me. That was done. I've got some water slide decal paper coming in so I can design a logo to put on there. And then the next step will be to add some clear coat to this. That's what the next video will be about, I'm sure. So I will see you in part 3.